Welcome to CrossPlatform podcast, where we discuss how to solve productivity problems across platforms. I'm Augusto Pinaud,
And I'm Art Gelwicks.
and today we are in our tips and tools of the week episodes, and we have four tips or tools that we're going to bring for you. So the first one is extra cables and chargers.
Yep.
You know, I've seen so much for people that I care and love, and clients and friends and people that I work with. Where is the cable? Oh, I thought it was in the back. Oh, I leave it. What do you mean? Go and buy another cable. It's $14. Well, but I don't need two cables. Not yes. You need a cable in your nightstand. You need a
Mhm.
cable where you work. You need a cable in your computer bag. That's three cables to begin with. Spend the $45 and be happy. Same thing with the chargers. Okay. Why do you need to go under the desk? Okay. Trying to unplug this thing, to put
Yeah.
it in the bag, to you to forget, or to then you get to the office and say, oh, I leave the charger at home. Why? Go and buy a different charger. Request it from IT. Put it in the bag. Keep it in the bag. The pain of not having the right cables is not worth it for the cost of the cables. And even if IT and your corporation or tell you we cannot buy this, go and buy it on yourself. It's going to, finance it if you need to. Having those extra cables and having the right cable when you need it has no price.
So there's two parts to this that I love. One, this is the primary reason why I buy USB-C based devices anymore,
Mhm.
because they're interchangeable for charging purposes. I get chargers and put them at all the places that I typically use my devices. So I have one next to the couch in the living room. I have one at my desk. I have one next to the bed, yada, 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 yada. That way I don't have to hunt down a charger. That's the first thing, most important. And I agree with you completely. They are at a cost price net point now where it is worth the investment in time recovered looking for a missing charger.
Correct.
The second thing I did, and this is something I started doing years ago, and I recommend anybody who has to travel with their technology with any level of frequency do, is put together a cable pack for their bag. There are lots of little slip covers that you can get that hold different cables in them. I have a couple of them. Build the cable pack out. Buy copies of the cables of all the different configurations that you typically use when you're out and about, uh, interfacing with other devices, and then leave them in that pack and leave that in that bag. Do not steal from that to use around your other places.
Correct.
That becomes your emergency pack. And I don't know how many times, if you have to use one of those cables for some intermittent reason, you just make sure that that goes back in that pack. But those extra cables and chargers will save you a ton of time and anguish
And
as
anguish
compared
and
to,
frustration. Correct.
yeah. There's no question. When you're laying out your platform, when you're making your technology decisions, making smart decisions around charging and interfacing can make or break your system environment in a heartbeat. So
So our
totally agree with that
second
tip.
our second tip comes from you. It's an Android app. It's called Focus To Do.
This is an interesting one. I was doing some poking around in the past couple of weeks looking at Pomodoro based applications, specifically trying to set up some timers and there's a lot of Pomodoro timers. And if you don't know what Pomodoro is, it's basically a 25-minute or an
Right.
interval based working
Pomodoro.
session.
The Pomodoro technique technically was written by Francesco Cirillo, and it's exactly what you're describing. It's a
Yep.
way to focus. So you go 25, 5, 25, 5, 25, 5, and
Yep.
then you take a longer break.
So a lot of the apps that you'll find are just timers that do just that. They stack themselves. They'll do different things, displays, notices, countdowns. Matter of fact, there's apps for like the Echoes and that sort that'll do similar timings. What I found interesting about this Focus To Do app, and I don't know if it's available on iOS, but on Android, it is actually a to-do tracker that has a Pomodoro timer built into it at the task level. So if you put all your task lists in there and your projects and you enter your information, it looks remarkably like Todoist. I'm pretty sure they use that as their inspiration for the UI. But every task you put in, you can then start a Pomodoro timer on that task while you're working on it. And it'll do the countdown, and then it'll give you the break time, and you can keep restarting it, restart until you're done the task, and then you mark the task as complete. So you're literally giving yourself not only task management, but also that timed interval control all within one app. I think it's very interesting. I've just started playing with it a little bit. I don't think it's going to replace Todoist for me, but if you're looking for a task tracker or a task manager and you want to try this Pomodoro technique, it's worth taking a look at it. It's called Focus to Do.
So our next one comes also from you. Google Docs, building blocks, and meeting notes.
Yeah,
I'm really curious to hear you share about this.
This is kind of a funny thing because this is a thing that I've used in OneNote for years. And one of the capabilities within OneNote is the ability to go in, create a blank note, and then grab information about a meeting that's in your Outlook calendar and automatically add it to your OneNote. So it provides the meeting title and attendees and all that happy stuff. Well, it turns out you can do this in Google Docs as well. Within Google Docs, you literally go up to, I forget which of the menus is, I think it's Insert. And under the Insert menu, there's an option called Building Blocks. And under Building Blocks, you have an option called Meeting Notes. It will then show you all the recent meetings on your Google Calendar. You can select one of them, and it will populate the information from that meeting record into your Google Doc. So if you're using a Google Doc to take meeting minutes or meeting notes, this is a great way to pre-populate a lot of that stuff directly from your calendar and not miss out on any of it. Mm-hmm. So if you're a Google Docs person, and you're using Google Calendar as well, and odds are if you're using one, you're using the other, you may want to give a look at this. So remember, it's Insert, I'm pretty sure it's Insert, Building Blocks, Meeting Notes.
Yep. And the last tip we have is for those who do getting things done, GTD, or do some kind of week review what are the tasks, and it's print them. Before you start your review, print them. You don't need to do this every week, but you should do this at least once a month. Go, print your list, and do that review from that paper copy. Why? Because changing the medium in which you see it every day will make your brain engage on a different way. And that will make that review much more powerful. I begin printing them once a month and then went to every other week, and now is every week. Because what I discover is when I print versus when I don't print, my review is completely different.
Yeah, the variety is, the old saying, variety is the spice of life. Variety keeps you engaged. If you look at it from, say, the marketing perspective, when you have things like banner ads on web pages, you go banner blind is what they call it. You stop seeing them. Well, if the routine is the exact same all the time, you can get to a point where you really don't pay attention to it. And you're right, that kind of variety change can make a huge impact in just your situational awareness as to what you're doing.
Yep. So with this, we have come to the end of the show. Follow us where you like to listen podcast, like us, or subscribe to us, and leave us a review. You can also, as I have mentioned, interact with us in personalproductivity.club. We love to see you in the CrossPlatform channel. We are Augusto Pinaud and Art Gelwicks, and see you next time from your favorite